Well, to talk more about this pollution crisis, we're now joined by Ronak Sutaria, founder, Respirer Living Sciences Private Limited, Chandan Sinha, a member of the Noida Flat Owners Welfare Association, and Dr. G C Khilnani, chairman of PSRI Institute of Pulmonary Critical Care and Sleep Medicine. Thank you so much. And Dr. Khilnani, I'd like to start with you. Tell us, Delhiites and viewers who are watching, and this is not just a Delhi problem, it's across the north. What do they need to look out for, especially for the elderly and young children and those who are suffering from any sort of cardio diseases?
Gargi, we are talking about today when the air quality has become hazardous, but I have been talking about it since the beginning of October, even the end of September, when I started seeing more cases with asthma, with COPD who were stable and coming with wheezing, getting admitted into the ICU. Even healthy people who had no respiratory illness, they come with dryness of mouth, they keep on coughing, keeping awake in the night all the time, and there is increasing admission of people in the ward and also in the ICU, and they are on ventilators also. So there is nobody who is not affected. Children are of course affected more, the elderly who are, especially those who have comorbidities who are affected more, but there is a group of people who are 80 plus. I am seeing that these people are coming with severe disease without any prior comorbidities and they get admitted into the ICU. I have patients who are on ventilators also. And I got a disturbing paper which I read just yesterday morning. It came on 31st of October in Journal of American Medical Association, which said that even 1 microgram increase in PM 2.5 led to reduction in mathematics in the performance of the children of mathematics and reading in grade 3 to 8, and this study was conducted by Yale University on more than 20 lakh students. Another disturbing thing was Asian children were worst affected. What I am trying to emphasize is that we always wake up during this time of the year when we say that more patients are coming, there is more pneumonia, there is more flu, there is more respiratory illness, we are choking, but actually this air pollution is affecting our children who are the future of the society, future of the country. Not only their lungs are affected, their growth is affected, also their intelligence is also affected, and this is actually a glaring study which I came across. So we have to be extremely cautious at this stage, but air pollution is coming not only from Delhi. If you go through where it is coming from, it is from the actually nearby state, the NCR, and even beyond that, even up to the Panipat. We keep blaming the stubble burning, but stubble burning is definitely one part of it. But actually whole things have to be changed. We have to change our fuel, we have to change our engines, we have to change our style of road construction. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. Thank you.
Absolutely. And, here at NDTV, we've been reporting on this for years now. I think even before, it became the, top headline everywhere. We've been reporting on this and we continue to report on this. And it's sad that every year, Dr. Khilnani, we have to speak to you about this issue. And very, very alarming, that study you were talking about, that this is affecting children, their capability when it comes to arithmetics, to reading. And it's interesting that just yesterday, in fact, the cricket captain, he also spoke about this. He said we have to think of future generations. Ronak Sutaria, if you could tell us a bit about, Respirer Living Sciences, and also, one feels so helpless. We keep talking about this, and citizens, and there are all these parent groups, etc. But when it comes down to it, has to be a concerted effort by authorities, by the government. But this is never an issue when it comes to elections or for voting.
So Gargi, the situation is pretty dire and it's obviously evident, but we've been tracking this on an hourly basis, hour by hour basis across the country at about 135 cities, the 135 which are in NCAP. Interestingly, 35 cities are hitting the severe and very poor categories in the last 24 hours, but particularly in the last 7 days. Which actually also tells us that there are close to 100 cities which are doing all right. So I think we don't need to look globally. Of course, the north-south situation is not, very easily comparable. North has certain challenges and limitations when it comes to air quality. But the fact is that, the North does need to fix its act together. I live in the west of the country in Mumbai, and Mumbai is also deteriorated significantly. The smog is not as
Right.
bad as Delhi and Haryana, but Bombay is deteriorating. Pune also is where I live right now, and it's significantly deteriorated. I think fundamentally, Gargi, the reality of the day is that currently we are in a pandemic kind of situation. So while the GRAP and shutting down of construction and all is frankly band-aids, currently the way I see it, and the doctor has very articulated the severity of what it does to the children and the seniors and the elders. So essentially, I think we've got to go in protection mode, put on masks. Unfortunately, indoor versus outdoor debate is a tricky one. And is indoors going to be safer than outdoors? We don't know. But if anybody has the option to filter out the air, they should try and use filters, because there isn't much more that can be done at this stage. But definitely avoid outdoors. The
Right,
messaging
and
is very,
again, you
very
call it
clear.
bandage, which it is, and again, it becomes elitist as well. It's the rich who can afford to have air purifiers in each of their rooms and, just be inside their homes, whereas the poor have to go out and about and work. Chandan Sinha, the, NCR, this is a huge problem. People spend their life savings, investing here, living here, and then what they are actually buying into is, series of health problems that they're going to have, as well as the future of their children, as the doctor just told us.
Good morning, Gargi. Actually, this situation is not nowadays. It is coming from last 5 to 6 years, and government is every time saying we are doing to control the pollution. But every time in November and December, we are facing the same situation in Delhi-NCR. And the real problem is, as said by the panelist, the parali cutting is one of the main issue. Beside by the Punjab and Haryana, one of the main. And this time wind is not flowing as usual as in month of July or August. So many things are involved in creating the problem of pollution or smog. And in Delhi NCR, where we are living, is like a construction site, where every day truck and generator are running in continuously. And the main problem for the government is not seeing the life of a human being, because nowadays it is not the problem for children or older one, but it harms the healthy person also. So nowadays we are facing severe problem in Delhi NCR, and government should look into this aspect also, because this is not a new problem. It is coming from last 6 to 7 years, and government has to look into that, because many construction site, they are not using water spraying in area, because when they start the construction, the many dust particle goes into the atmosphere and then create a problem in this area. So government should look upon all the, even fuel is one of the problem. We have to change the fuel from petrol to diesel to electric vehicle. Government should promote this area also, because this issue is going worse to worse day by day. So our suggestion is to look upon the government to change the fuel also, look upon the construction site also, look upon the area we are living in Delhi NCR.
And Mr. Sinha, make demands of the government, make demands of various political parties to fulfill these promises to us, and that the health of our children is a very real issue. It's not something that we find people talking about on campaigns.
Yeah, we have raised the issue in several platforms, but government is helpless in when the Kisan is coming in front of them, because they don't want to harm the farmer also, because parali is one of the reason for giving in light of smog.
No, absolutely.
So
And,
government should,
we have
yeah.
some of the best minds. We have engineers. We have all kinds of, intellectuals. I mean, there has to be some way to resolve this constant yearly problem that we see. Parali burning is one of the issues from Haryana and Punjab. We have that smoke coming into Delhi, but other issues as well. Isn't it, Dr. Khilnani? And as you were pointing out, this is something, this is when we really see it at this time when Delhi becomes a gas chamber, but it is a problem that is there for several months.
What should be done? It's the implementation. It is not that California has less vehicles, that California doesn't have traffic snarls and number of vehicles. And 100 years back, they had the similar problem. They solved it by good fuel and good engines and implementation. That is very important. Are our vehicles on the road in northern India or all over the country have the good engine and good fuel? And if there are polluting vehicles, is it being implemented? That is most one important thing. Other thing is that unorganized construction, which is actually emitting very, very toxic dust. Are we implementing it? We know that water helps. When you cut the marble, the water should be flowing all the time. But the implementation is very important, of which we keep blaming the public for not following. You go on a public transport, you share the vehicle. But if we ask ourselves, can we do that? Is it practical for all of us to go to the metro station? Does the metro can take all our loads? The important thing is that principles are very well known. It is important to the implementation. And one thing I would like to talk about air purifiers, if you permit me. Air purifiers, everybody is buying, whosoever can afford it, and he is under the illusion that he is breathing good air. He will breathe good air only if the air purifier is on all the time. Number 2, the room has to be closed. Number 3, that the direction should be where his bed or table is, wherever he is sitting. Number 4, the door and windows have to be closed all the time. You can put on the air conditioner. And finally, the science says that it doesn't have any benefit for healthy people. And my personal thinking is that only people, those who have severe illnesses or chronic diseases, may use air purifiers. But in my experience, all my patients refuse to close the windows and doors. They feel claustrophobic and they can't use air purifiers. Right. And if you want to use mask, you have to use an N99 or N95 mask. Mask that your reporter was wearing on the Akshardham is not protecting him at all.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. I will inform him, but thank you all for joining us on this very important issue. And yes, it needs to be solved. You had the US ambassador to India yesterday saying that it reminds him of Los Angeles back in the day and how his child had been asked not to go outdoors. So really shameful that the national capital, Delhi, is coming in the news in this manner as being one of the most polluted capitals anywhere in the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and it's an issue we'll continue to track very, very closely.